CleanSpark is mining an average of 4 Bitcoin a day. Now with the agreement that we had yesterday, that's going to allow us to deploy 900 additional machines today, increasing our daily hash rate from the 470 petahash you see on your screen by almost 100 petahash. What that relationship means is that over the next 2 months, CleanSpark's production will increase from 4 Bitcoin a day to almost 10 Bitcoin a day. We've worked in a consulting capacity, in a design and engineering capacity, in early stages with many other competitors within the space, and a number of those agreements are pending public disclosure, but we expect that over the course of the coming 2 quarters, you'll see a lot of relationships with some people that have been perceived to be our competitors.
How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. I wanted to bring you an update on CleanSpark today. I've had some people asking me for this, and Matthew Schultz just did an kind of a update on the company. And first of all, I want to say it was very professional. I love listening to Matthew speak. I mean, some people are stumbling over words and can't get their thoughts really in line and really communicate that, but he does a fantastic job. And after watching this, I am more bullish on CleanSpark than I ever have been. I'll be honest with you. Now, the price has been going down significantly, and Matthew actually talked about that, and he said that basically he thinks that it's people misunderstanding the company and people are fearful just in general in the space. Now, I want to cover some of the main points and give you some estimates on the type of revenue and profits that we can be expecting based on what they've done already and what they just told us. Now, right off the bat, I'm not a financial advisor. I've been buying this stock for a while because I really believe in the long-term outlook, and it's still been going down. So that is kind of an example of a company that has a really solid future, but the price just is not matching up with what the company is doing. I mean, if you look at the 1 year here, this has gone down significantly from January, and this is even when Bitcoin's price was going up pretty significantly. Now, the company is down from $40 all the way down 67%, and I was buying it here today. So if you guys don't mind hitting the like button, I appreciate that. Please hit subscribe too. If you guys want, you can check out the link down below to TipRanks, so you can try that out. I'm working with them, and you can actually get some really good information on TipRanks using that link down below. Also, there's a link down there in case you want to try out Webull. You can try it out. Just deposit $5 and get some free stocks, up to $2,300 worth. They give away free stocks all the time too on their platform, so definitely check that out. So I have my notepad here. We're going to go through it. Right now, they gave a little bit of an update on Bitcoin mining. They couldn't go into detail too much on this most recent quarter because it's not public information yet, but they kind of reiterated everything that they've talked about in the past, and it put a clear picture out there. So right now, they are expecting between $47 and $67 million worth of revenue this year. I think this might be a little bit low, but we'll see. I think they're pricing it a little bit low just in case Bitcoin keeps on falling. I think that they don't want to come in under what they've said. Now, they've increased from 20 to 74 employees. You don't typically see that with a company that is not growing, right? I mean, you need to be growing to be able to add 54 people to your payroll. Now, they talked about the grid side of their business pretty significantly at first, and I'll keep it kind of short here, but they talked about the Texas blackout and how between this and people staying at home, the need for their business and the demand has just gone through the roof. People don't want to be left out in the cold. I should be careful how I phrase that, but literally and figuratively, they don't want to be left out in the cold if the grid goes down, right? This is where it's really important to have microgrids, which is what their business does. It takes risk kind of off the table from just a living standpoint, and in case you work from home, right? If you're like a high-powered individual and you are working from home, you need to be able to get online. Now, they recently had been part of a list of the top microgrid companies in the world, and they actually placed, I believe it was 11th, and they were actually above GE, General Electric, which is awesome. They were very proud of that. Now, this part of their business, they had $10 million worth of revenue in last year. They expect this to go to $20 million this year, and then they actually upgraded that. So they had said $20 million originally, then they upgraded it to $30 million, which is fantastic. I mean, that's huge. Now, something that they have recently announced is actually right here. So they gave an update on the Southern California microgrid. So this is actually something that they've done recently, and the CFO of the company that they worked with said that they saw a reduction in the first month's power bill from $13,000 to $15,000 down to just over $3,000. This was with some solar power that they used, and they included 1,200 solar panels. Now, they said that they also got a solar credit and battery incentive through the state, it looks like. So that's awesome for the company. It might lead to more sales in the future with good news like this coming out, basically saving them $10,000 a month in pretty much, I mean, that goes straight to their bottom line essentially. Now, they do have to pay for it up front, but that's something that if you were looking long term might be a good solution. Now, going back to what we were talking about. So, in addition to that, they've just seen a massive bump, like I said, from work from home and people needing more certainty. Now, they talked about Bitcoin mining. And this is where it gets really interesting. A lot of us are excited in their Bitcoin mining business because that is where a lot of the growth is, and that's where we're seeing a lot of interest. Now, it costs $7,000 to mine. Difficulty has gone down recently. This is something that I've talked about on Twitter. If you guys want to follow me, you can. There's a link underneath the video. Should just be under My Financial Friend or My Financial Friend Official. It shouldn't be too hard to find. But the difficulty has gone down due to the China ban. And this has caused a lot of miners to have to move and the difficulty of mining Bitcoin to go down. They actually gave an update on this saying that they were mining about 3 Bitcoin per day, but because of the China ban, now they're up to 4 Bitcoin a day. This is pretty exciting. I mean, right now, that puts them even at, let's just say, a $35,000 Bitcoin. That puts them at about 140 Bitcoin per, or $140,000 worth of revenue a day from mining Bitcoin. That's pretty significant throughout the quarter. That does give them a nice revenue boost, even from last quarter when they were mining at a much higher price per Bitcoin. So that still gives them a nice boost of about 50% or so on their Bitcoin mining revenue, even with that lower number on Bitcoin at around 32,000, 35,000. Now, they said that they recently had this new partnership right here. We can see on their website. They announced this yesterday or the day before, CoinMint. Basically putting some of the miners over at CoinMint. Now CoinMint is also really focused on clean energy. And this is something that Kevin O'Leary's talked about before. Bitcoin mining has kind of a negative connotation, and a lot of investors are looking for clean energy plays. Now, CleanSpark is the cleanest that I've seen. So CoinMint is also focused on that, and they are looking to get to 100% carbon neutral in the next few years. Now, right now they are 95%. CleanSpark's 95% carbon free. So that is much higher than most miners out there. So with this new agreement, they were able to get up to 570 petahashes today. So that means that really, when you look at it, if they're at 470 and they're mining 4 Bitcoin a day, that'll bring them up to almost 5 Bitcoin a day pretty much right now, once those are deployed. Now, they talked about what's here to come. So over the next 2 months, they think they can get up to 10 Bitcoin per day based on this new partnership. This is similar to what they expected by September. This is pretty much right in line. They said 6 to 9 Bitcoin a day. Now they're saying 10. That is with the decreased difficulty. At least I assume he didn't really specify whether that is because of the difficulty going down or whether that's just because they are able to increase it faster than they thought. So either way, 10 Bitcoin a day, putting them at about 1,200 petahash or 1.2 E hash. So they said by the end of 2021, they're going to be able to get up to 2,000, which I'll show you what this means here in a second in terms of revenue. which would mean 17 Bitcoin a day. Now, previously they had talked about this possibly by next year, but now they're talking end of this year. By end of 2022, they're saying 3.2 ehash, which is about 27 Bitcoin a day. Now, these are quite impressive numbers. They've been pretty much right on with everything that they've said so far, and they've grown from about 1.4 Bitcoin a day up to about 4 so far. So this is increasing their revenue pretty significantly. Now, they have 157 million in cash and only 9 million in liabilities, giving them a very nice margin of safety. I mean, when you look at this company, it's a $459 million market cap, and they have 160 million in cash. It's essentially 1/3 of the company, like $4.50 is just cash. $4.50 out of this $13.5. So really, you're paying about 300 million for a company that is mining 4 Bitcoin a day. So at this margin, they have really high margins. We can take a look at how much profit they're expecting at different times. Now, one other thing that I want to hit on is the fact that they said next quarter they might see some big partnerships with other competitors. Someone asked, okay, are you actually able to deploy some of your technology, some of your energy saving technology and software systems to other Bitcoin miners? And they said yes, they're still in talks and it's not public yet, but hopefully they will be able to announce that over the next couple quarters. So that's pretty exciting too. So they are in a very strong capital position and they're growing quite quickly. So like I said, 30 million in revenue, that puts them at about a 10 price to sales ratio based on if you just take the cash away from the company. Now, that is just from the grid side of their business. But what are they looking at in terms of the other sides of their business? Well, based on their Bitcoin per day, we can figure out how much revenue they're expecting. So right now, they should be around 4 Bitcoin a day times 30, we'll say 32,000 times 365. So just based on this, we can kind of get a snapshot of how much revenue they would get just from the Bitcoin mining side of their business. This is about $46 million based on Bitcoin's current price. Now, this in addition to the fact that they're going to grow over the next coming months, it's a very bullish scenario. I mean, I think we're looking at 80 to 100 million in revenue, and this is with their cash, putting them at like I said, a 3 price to sales ratio if you take away their cash. Now, let's take a look at what they're going to be mining and how their profits are going to look going forward. So right now, if Bitcoin fell to $10,000, right? Terrible time. I'm sure the stock would drop significantly. But this would still put their revenue per day right now at $40,000 per day from Bitcoin mining. Now, they just announced that they're actually at 570 petahash, which puts them at about 5 Bitcoin per day. So this would bring them up to about 48,500 revenue a day. And then you can go down the line. Let's say Bitcoin's at $10,000, and this is a year and a half from now, at the end of 2022, they would be mining about 272,000 a day. Now, assuming that costs $7,000 per Bitcoin to mine, they would still be profiting at 10,000 Bitcoin. And by the time that they are mining about 27 a day, they would still be profiting about $82,000 a day. So based on annual revenue, right now, they would be able to produce about $18 million worth of Bitcoin if they didn't increase their power at all or increase their hash rate and the difficulty stayed the same, about $18 million of Bitcoin just at $10,000 per Bitcoin. This would give them a profit of about $11 million. So actually, $5 million. Now, if we increase it to the end of the summer, that's where we get $11 million. And you can go down the line to about $100 million worth of revenue a few years from now, just at the end of 2022. Now, what if Bitcoin does better than that, right? That's a pretty bearish scenario, assuming it's going to fall another 67 to 70%. What if it goes down to 25,000? So it still falls about 20%. Well, based on what they've done just so far in July, they would have about $100,000 worth of revenue a day. Annually, about 37 million. Annual profit would be pretty high actually, because again, they are just costing 7,000 per Bitcoin. So at 25,000, that's a pretty high margin. So that'd be 26 million worth of annual profit. And this is again not accounting for the grid part of their business, all the way down to almost $700,000 per day at the end of 2022. This would give them a nice profit. This would put them at 250 million in annual revenue. But what if we get to 35,000 Bitcoin, right? Something that is definitely not out of consideration. I mean, that's just essentially what it's been floating around right now. That would put them right at the next 2 months. That would put them like 2 months from now when they're mining 10 Bitcoin a day at $350,000 worth of Bitcoin a day. Profit would be about 280,000 a day for over 100 million in profit. What if we go to a more bullish scenario? Not a $1 million Bitcoin, not $100,000 Bitcoin, but just 50,000, just where we were a couple months ago. Revenue in a couple months would be 500,000 a day. This would put them at nearly 200 million for their annual revenue. Now, at the end of 2021, we would be at 310 million. Annual profit, 267 million. Very bullish scenario, $50,000 Bitcoin, end of 22, they are able to get to where they want in Bitcoin mining just based on the miners that they've already paid for and acquired. 1.36 million a day, almost 500 million in annual revenue. You can see why I'm quite bullish on this company, right? In any of these scenarios, they're still making a profit. They're still making money from Bitcoin mining. They're still going to increase mining pretty drastically. They're still in a good capital position. They already have the other side of their business that's growing and has growing demand. You can see where I'm quite excited about this. Let's say Bitcoin gets to 100,000. The numbers get insane. They already have a strong capital position. They've got high price targets from analysts, about $47 right now. And they're selling at a massive discount. Part of that is the fear. Part of that is people not understanding the business. Part of that is people just not being willing to wait a little bit. There's also a couple short reports out on them, but so far, nothing has really come of it. Right now, it looks like a very nice company to add to. Now, of course, this is based on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin falls to 25,000, you better believe CleanSpark is going to see some pain. However, might be the best time to buy then, assuming you are bullish on Bitcoin, or even if you're not bullish, even if you think it's going to fall down 50%, you're still in a pretty good situation with CleanSpark if you're looking out a little bit at some of the revenues. So let me know what you think about this down below. Let me know whether you're excited about CleanSpark. Let me know what you think about this and Matthew Schultz in general with what he said in the interview or the presentation. Let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I added to the dip today, or I added to my position during the dip today. I was pretty excited about that. I am very happy with CleanSpark under $14. I guarantee it won't be here forever. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for checking out Webull and TipRanks down below.